In this Voices from the Field video, Lindsay Jones, the CEO of the National Center on Learning Disabilities, shares some considerations and strategies that educators can use to support partnering with families of students with intensive needs.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Jones. I'm the CEO of the National Center for Learning Disabilities, and I'm excited to be speaking with you today. The National Center for Learning Disabilities is a parent-run, parent-driven organization that works on behalf of children with learning and attention issues. So we use that term to refer to children with specific learning disabilities and attention deficit hyperactive disorders and other executive functioning issues. Our work is very focused on families, on listening to them, and helping solve problems that they bring forward. In addition, we are really focused on eliminating the stigma and the myths that exist around learning and attention issues in our society. And I myself, I'm the CEO, as I mentioned, and I spent many years practicing law, representing both schools and families in special education matters. So I have a good understanding of the complexities from both sides, from both the educator perspective and the parent perspective. At the National Center for Learning Disabilities, we try to work with all stakeholders in the community because what I know from my personal practice, what you probably know, what we all know, is that not one person in your child's life, in your student's life, can bring everyone together in ways that we need to push systems forward and get the specialized supports and services in place that children need. I want to talk with you a little bit today about how you can work with families and engage them and ensure that they're really involved when you're delivering intensive interventions. For most of our students, intensive interventions are incredibly important. They are individuals who either they haven't been identified early enough or their particular complex learning needs are so great that they do need interventions over time, and they need them in a structured, intensive format. So the work that everyone is doing is incredibly important, and I think making sure families can be partners with you in that process is critical. I just want to talk about 5 things today that are ways to engage parents. The first, you need to understand there's going to be emotion. You have to assume good intentions. Everyone, I know that you know there's emotion, but from the parent perspective, every meeting is an incredibly high stakes meeting. And you should accept that as you work with them. And if you embrace it and you acknowledge it, you don't take things personally, but you understand where they're coming from, you can make them really incredible partners in the process. So understand that emotion's going to be there, accept it, and think of ways to work with it. Next, I think you need to always talk about strengths. You have to open with strengths. I saw that in my practice as an attorney, and I know it from the millions of parents we deal with across the nation. NCLD, National Center for Learning Disabilities, has a strengths-based toolkit. It's on our website, on one of our sites, understood.org/strengths-based toolkit. You can find it on our website, ncld.org. If you don't start a conversation from a place of strength, you're entering it, and you're already putting the parent and family on watch and on guard, and they're already at that high emotional level we just talked about. So opening by talking about the student as a whole person and really focusing on their strengths can change the tenor of the entire interaction. Third, I would say communication is key. Parents who you're dealing with are not going to know, and nor should you expect them to know, all of the different types of things you're doing. They aren't going to know the evidence base. They're going to be very worried. They're going to have a lot of questions. And we would never expect them to know that. They're not education professionals, but they've been put in a situation where the most precious thing in their life is something that you're working with. Understand that communicating with them and thinking about what their questions might be, telling them what they can expect, and especially sharing with them information that doesn't have jargon in it, FAPE and LRE and all those things that we say so easily, really can just slow down what they're doing and on how they're understanding. In addition, I think I would definitely say to you, the more you help them understand, the better partners they're going to be, the better resources to you they'll be. So be sure to think through your communication plan with families. Fourth, Parents often have their own learning and attention issues. We know from the science that learning disabilities, attention disorders run in families. It's something that we need to be cautious of as we become better at identifying students earlier, but it's also something to think through in your interactions. They may have difficulty reading a 40-page notice. They may not pick up an article, a journal article that's research-based. I think it's important to do what you can to help them get the information in the way that they can best understand it. And just as we are with their children, this doesn't mean talking down to parents or assuming having low expectations about what they'll know. It does, however, mean understanding we all learn differently, and to make that relationship successful, thinking through the way you communicate and how they'll best hear your information is important. Finally, the fifth thing that I would say is make sure that parents and kids are a real part of your school community. One of the best things you can do is ensure that children aren't only getting those intensive interventions, but think through who they are. Do they participate in sports? Do those coaches and PE instructors need information that you can give them about how to better provide directions or instructions on the field? What about the bus driver in the school? Does that person need to know? How are they involved in clubs? Can they be a leader? Think about how they are part of the whole community. That, in addition to really focusing on strengths, those can be very subtle and small things, but they can mean so much, and they can maybe help that child and that family discover some of the unique and incredible characteristics about that student that they will rely on and grow into for their whole life. So I just want to say thank you so much for what you do. We really appreciate it at the National Center for Learning Disabilities. We think intensive interventions couldn't be more important, and we hope that you work hard to work with parents and families and make them your partners.